IF to the peoples, man. Battle Boy Media, where we're dripping in gems and our bills are all about work that matters. Battle Boy Media, airing the ills of the block. This is what we doing. This is how we giving it up, man. Salute the Crossroads, man, for pulling up. Appreciate you, bro. How you feeling?
I'm good. Getting through it.
No doubt, no doubt. Shout to the peoples. Appreciate all those that's been tapping in. We gonna jump right into our build, man. Shout to everybody, man. Good, bad, and different. Encouragement, inspiration, hatred, whatever the case may be, is welcome. It's all good. We gonna stay the course and keep, dripping in gems like we do on this end. So far so great. And as we can see by the thumbnail that's up, the title reads, "Do you see yourself carrying your brother the distance?" Do you see yourself carrying your brother the distance? And in the thumbnail, there's a picture of a man carrying what appears to be a younger boy on his back. So that's the visual. That's the visual that we have so far, right? That's the visual that we have so far. So we're gonna surround our build based on the title um, and the thumbnail that's actually put up on a platform, right? So again, the question is, do you see yourself carrying your brother the distance? I'm not gonna say I have a feeling. I want to say yes off a rip, right? But I just have a feeling at the end of this build, it may switch up based off of what it is that I'm gonna share through my experience from carrying a brother. Um, and who knows? My answer may remain the same from what it is, what I initially started off with. My answer being yes. But again, we're gonna, peel back the layers of um, the actual title and what it means to us, coming from my perspective, from Crossroads perspective, and you guys engage as well, your perspective as well. So off of rip, I'm definitely gonna say yes. I'll carry my brother the distance.
Hey, yo, fight. Before
Yeah.
you go, let me interject right quick, and let's
Okay.
give the props and recognition to the brother Keith Zenger who created this oil painting. It's an
Okay.
oil, it's an oil painting on canvas. It's titled Brotherhood, and
Mm-hmm.
the artist is brother Keith Zenger. It's titled Brotherhood from 2025.
Okay. Definitely shout to Keith Zanga. The thumbnail spoke in a lot of different directions when I first seen it. I was pulled and tugged in a lot of different directions up until we finally came up with how we're gonna narrow down and build surrounding the topic of what it is that that's in front of all of us right now. Um, so brotherhood is the purpose of the painter's vision when he put this together. And when I actually zoomed in on the picture, I noticed that it appears that the heels of his feet is bruised or maybe even bleeding and cracked from what it appears to be him walking the distance, as what it says in the title. Um, and of course, walking the distance with your brother, you holding your brother up on your back, the weight tends to not wear you down, but do just that, add weight to what it is that you're carrying on your own. But I guess one of the questions is, you know, during those times of where you feel like you're in despair, or um, where you feel like you can do better in your travels on your own without carrying that kind of weight of a brother, is it worth carrying your brother and continuing to go the distance? Again, I'm gonna say yes, but I'm gonna ask Crossroads. Would you? Do you see yourself carrying? Do you see yourself carrying your brother the distance?
All right, thanks. It's a very thought provoking artistic work first and foremost.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you see yourself carrying your brother's distance. What is the measure? Comes to mind. What is the measure? We talk about the distance. The distance, the measure for each and every one of us may be different. You know, the distance to some is carrying your brother while he's down. The distance to others may be carrying your brother when he's going through something, when he's in turmoil, when he's, you know, dealing with something that's overwhelming for him or her.
Yeah.
Do we see ourselves carrying the distance? That's when they are truly a burden. It's something special about brotherhood, about friendship. Usually, friendship, which is synonymous with brotherhood to me in the sense that friendships last longer than marriages. Friendships last longer than relationships. You know, they very far few in between, but you can have people that was friends for 20, 30, 40, 50 years,
No
right?
doubt.
How many relationships last that long, right? So it's something to learn from friendship, from brotherhood and sisterhood. It's something to gain from that. There's value in that. And one of the things I point out is that brotherhood, sisterhood, friendship, you experience things together and you got through it together, good, bad, or indifferent.
Yeah.
You can talk about it in latter time and laugh, good, bad, or indifferent. Whatever you went through, y'all did it together. So that's akin to relationship. You stop being a friend, you stop being a sister, you stop being a brother, and you no longer find value in those simple things, good, bad, or indifferent. You begin to find judgment in it, right? You begin to um, be unnerved or moved by those experiences that you guys share.
Yeah.
So again, what is the measure of distance? So, and even when that brother or sister is a burden, are you willing to carry it, or do we abandon ship? Get off me when they no longer serve what you believe is a meaningful purpose in your life. Do you shun them? Is that the time you realize it's not as light as it was when he was up?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Um,
Yeah.
and then that weight at 20, that weight at 19, don't weigh the same at 40, at 45.
Ooh wee. He dripping.
You
He
dig what I'm
dripping
saying?
with
Are you
gems.
willing to carry your brother the distance?
Say that again. The weight at 19 years old is a different
It's
weight than when you're 40 years old.
mm, indeed, indeed,
Wow.
indeed. The measurements are different. The weight is different, but the distance is the same. And this is how long are you willing to carry it?
You see, I think with that, like, there's a lot of variables that play into things, because from 19, we're at a stage of we still learning, we're still becoming a man, still becoming, a woman, and we're ignorant and blinded and loyal to a lot of
Mhm.
things by default, as opposed to the large gap, the 21 years in between, to reach 40. Like, you go through experiences, and that's where you gain the wisdom and know how to go about dealing with the weight that you choose to carry at 40, as opposed to how ignorant you went about carrying it at 19. So it's it's real fickle, and at the same time, certain morals and principles won't change between 19 and 40,
Mhm.
within yourself. But I think for myself, right? Like I look for the reciprocation in a brotherhood, um, and not in a tit for tat type of fashion. Uh, just genuinely being present for your brother, however way you feel your brother needs to be shown up for. I don't think a brother or a sister have to necessarily let you know when they're in a time of need in your presence or advice, or sometimes just being an ear. Um, if the brotherhood or the sisterhood is genuine to that extent, you should give what it is that you would want for yourself in that same moment. So certain things should go unsaid, and certain actions shouldn't even have to be questioned. You should just like go right into play. But what happens within that 19 that age of 19 carrying the weight to 40, where at 40 now you know better, now you could recognize certain things and see that things aren't being reciprocated from the same
Mm-hmm.
standpoint of where that brotherhood once started or once stood. Like, do you continue to carry, is I guess is what it is that I'm asking. Like, or you just be that quote unquote mule of a person and continue to just carry a weight that'll, eventually, wear
Yeah,
and tear you down in more sense of a physical.
yeah. On that note, you went a little, your voice went a little low, but I heard you. But what I appreciate about you and value in you is something you said when you first started. You said you have your opinion about the, kind of this is at this time, but at the end of the bill, it might change. And that's that open mind we need,
No doubt.
because each of us would rather carry a lighter load. It's almost a given. I would prefer to carry a lighter load than a heavier load. But how many of us prepare for carrying the heavy load? What does that process look like? Because we can say we're going to go that distance when the road is light, which is a given. When it gets heavy, how do we adjust? How do we reposition our brother? How do we refocus our grasp, our hand?
Yeah.
You know, how will our gait change? The way we walk, the distance. A few years ago we were hopping and running the distance. Now we may stumble through the distance because the weight changes. The measurement is the same. You carry your brother, but the weight changes. It begins to get heavy. How do we prepare to carry the heavy load of our brother or sister? How do we see brother and sisterhood? We got to continuously focus on that. We got to continue to prepare, preparation, right?
Mm. And it's interesting that you say that, because I don't think we go through a preparation stage of it. We just wait for a situation to occur and just take it on, and then deal with the results of how we feel after the fact.
I beg to differ, Tizzy, because everything we do in life is a preparation.
No
Whether
doubt.
we are aware, which we're trying to do to our youth, make them become conscious, make them become aware, make them forward, give them tools for forward thinking. What am I doing today, and how would that contribute to tomorrow?
Mm.
How am I going to do something that's going to contribute to a time that's not even here yet? That's the beginning of wisdom, those thoughts. How do I prepare for a situation or circumstances that haven't even presented themselves yet?
Mm. Interesting, 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 interesting. I guess I'm looking at it from a standpoint of, I guess like a lot of times, us as individuals and even myself, um, I spoke to, one of my brothers, as far as like speaking to him, as far as keeping our, cup filled, you know, keeping our cup filled to the rim, and anything that overflows is for, you know, the brothers or the sisters that, can grab from what spilleth over your cup. But I think a lot of times, you know, we keep our cup halfway and try to give so much from a half filled cup, we end up, you know, damn near depleting ourselves and becoming dehydrated and start reacting and responding to things in ways that may come off irrational. Um, and I think that's almost in a sense of preparation, but a lot of times, and again, I'm gonna keep it on the eye with this. Like, there's been numerous and plenty of times where I would deal without, just for the sake of a favor a brother may ask or a favor that a sister may have, and it may not necessarily be there for me to do, but I can hear the sense of urgency and um, panic in the sister or the brother's voice, and I'll just do what needs to be done, and I'll think about me after the fact. Plenty of instances like that. And then you could take that very same um, instance that I just used, and you could place it under a magnifying glass. You could times that times 10, because everybody do things or something similar to what I did, but even more on an extreme level. And it's to the
Mhm.
point where everybody don't respond to the aftermath of that the same. Now you're thinking about how it is you're gonna do for yourself. You had certain things to do for your kid, or you dipped into this to do that to make sure a friend was good, or whatever the case may be, and you'll just try to figure it out at the end. Like, I know a lot of us put ourselves in positions like that a lot of times,
Mhm.
more times than not. So, um, again, and it's cool that you beg to differ, but I know, like, a lot of us in life, like, we'll do those things repeatedly, and then when it's not reciprocated, when we feel like we should be heard or we should be understood, and the same type of response that we give, we expect it to be mirrored the same, and it doesn't come back that same from a brother, from sisterhood. It causes you to look at things slightly different, and it makes you question if carrying that weight is worth it when you feel that type of energy coming from yourself, just by analyzing the journey, walking with that brother or sister through the times.
That worth become worth the walk even before you took the first step. How we see ourselves. And if we see in ourselves our brother and sister, the work is weight, the weight is worth every step. Okay? But shout out for, for people tuning in. We appreciate you. Welcome to Battle Boy Media. We'll be
No
dripping in
doubt.
gems and our builds up our work that matters.
No
Yeah,
doubt.
Battle Boy Media. Airing the ills of the block. Airing the ills of the block.
No
When it
doubt.
deals with poverty, incarceration, violence, obstacles, trauma, abuse, and low self-esteem, let's build about it. Let's become aware of how we're affected, how we're impacted, how we're affected, and how we infect others by those same ills.
No doubt.
So yeah, every step is worth the wait before we took the first step. So again, that's all about being aware. That's all about the value that we place in sister and brotherhood and the value we extract from it.
Mm.
It makes the distance worth the journey.
Hmm. I don't know. Let me tell you something, right?
Hmm.
I had a brother of mine that I considered a brother. Of course, we didn't meet up north, but you know, I heard of him in the street. He may have heard of me in the street. He's older than me, whatever the case may be. But we ended up bumping upstate, right? And this is when I had a surcharge, no GED, no
Mhm.
nothing. So commissary time, is like $3 on the sheet, $4 on the sheet, or whatever the case may be. But I happened to land in a spot with this individual, and he looked out for me. Um, Made sure the locker was full. Make sure I had toothpaste. Make sure um, I had soap, not cold craft. Um, Put me on a jack. I couldn't make no phone calls to nobody. Wasn't nobody accepting calls from me back then. He looked out for me like how a brother should.
Mhm.
Long story short, that brother, had a term of 25 years to life to serve. Of course, I ended up finishing up my bid, got off parole, started going up to see the brother, put my phone on when I could. Um, Even went as far as going to, you know, see him walk through the doors once he actually made the board. Um, and again, I was 19, 20 years old, when I went upstate and I came across this individual. Um, the shift in the brotherhood changed on upon the release. Um, and I feel like I wasn't the individual that was in that same position that was in need of him, and that caused a shift in the relationship that I was able to identify real quick. But now the shoes is on the other foot. I'm in a position where I could extend myself and do certain things in a certain manner, and try to show you the ropes of how things is moving and maneuvering out in the streets, being that you've been off the streets for as long as he's been off the streets, 25 years. Didn't work. Did not work. And I mean, to the extent of letterheads getting written, to support my brother in his parole hearing. And all of that was done on my end. Thank God he made his first board. He came home in the streets, but our relationship, it went down the drain.
But when was it destroyed? Because let me ask you this: inside the thumbnail, inside um the visual image, is the brother being carried at that stage able to carry his brother that's carrying him? Can they switch places? Is what I'm asking.
I don't think.
Look at the visual image. The brother that's being carried, the one that's on the back,
Yeah,
can he carry his brother at that stage?
he probably could have.
That little guy on that brother's back can get off his brother back and then carry his brother at that stage?
Oh no, 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 no,
Right.
no.
Now, so this is why I saw a flaw in your opinion of you want the brother and sister you love that's reciprocated. That stage of reciprocation could be the stage that that brother is in the picture. He's not able to reciprocate. He wouldn't be able to then carry his brother at that stage. You see what I'm saying? So the effort is ours. What we place in the brother and sisterhood is what we did. And if it's not reciprocated, we don't get it. Maybe it wasn't able to be reciprocated. We weren't able to get it at that stage. We have to meet people where they're at. We don't know each other's stages of growth. That's the beauty of the brother and sisterhood.
No doubt.
It's irregardless, it's irrespective of the stage that that brother or sister is in. If you want to carry him, you get the value out of the distance that you put in, right?
Hmm.
So that's something to think about. That's something to always think when you're aiding, when you carry your brother, whether you want to make the distance or not. It's about the effort you put in it. It's what you extract from it. But we have to learn to give ourselves grace. There may be time when we got to take them off our back for a while. That could be the separation stage.
Yeah.
That could be the stage where we realize they didn't perform like we thought they should have. They didn't reciprocate where we thought we reciprocate. Okay, we passed that stage. Get back on, brother. Get back on, sister. We got somewhere to go. Just something to think about. Not nothing in particular, just something to think about. Keep
It's
expanding the mind.
it's definitely something to think about and something that I'm gonna, you know, I'm a dissect off of camera. Um, but again, it just comes off as if, because you just finished mentioning, like, sometimes you gotta meet a person where they're at, right? And where we met at the age that we were, of course, 25 years later, like, there's maturity there, there's growth there. Like, anything that's not growing or matures, like, is pretty much like stagnant or dead. And it just seemed as if, when dealing with my brother, if he wasn't dealing with me in a manner of where it is that we met, um there was no other way to actually deal with me. as if i as if i'm as if I as if I wasn't 35 at the time, or 36, or whatever the case may be. Like, I'm no longer the 19-20-year-old that you met when I first came up and didn't have nothing. um Time has definitely passed, so it's like, how do how do you continue to go forward with carrying your brother when, how can I say this? How do you continue to carry your brother when there's no real um, respect, for growth, not for any of what's been done in the interim, from the time that I've been home to the time that he came home, or even going up to the prison once he got released. Not just from the sake of manhood, brotherhood, going from boys to men, um, without reverting or dwelling back to when I didn't have, as if that's the stage, or what kept us from being, or what kept us to be brothers.
Well, you don't. Shop dope boy. Can't go through. Can't go through. Um, you don't. That's that stage of giving yourself grace, getting them more, sitting them down. We don't have to devalue the steps thus far.
No
We
doubt.
appreciate those steps in the name of sister and brotherhood, right? But it's time to get on. It's time to walk. You know, we know what point. At some point, we're gonna put them down. We know at some point we're not gonna be able to walk that walk the way we did in that stage that we just came from. We might not have that strength. Not everybody can continue to turn the other cheek.
Yeah, I'm one of those.
You know, you might be able to catch that slap. Nah, brother.
Yeah, facts.
Nah, sister, right?
Facts.
But it's still a brother, still a sister, and we can make peace with ourselves. That we got to continue the journey.
No doubt.
You
No
know,
doubt. No doubt. No doubt. No doubt. Do you think you do you think what about, as you're journeying, like the thumbnail shows, right? And you got the brother on your back, and you could just you could feel little pokes of a thumbtack, in your shoulder blade here. As he's holding on to you, you just feel another pinching of a thumbtack going into, just injecting itself into your back, and you just trying to, like, shake it off, or even to the point where you look and you can see the thumbtack in your back, in your shoulder blade,
Mhm.
and it's like, you're just trying to like go past that, overlook that, but you feel it. You ain't put it there. There's only a person on your back that you're carrying, and you feel it.
Mhm.
It's like, what do I just, become a human, uh, pin the tail on a donkey and just, carry this while I'm feeling like, why am I being stuck with this thumbtack when I'm trying to get us to a certain destination?
Well, we acknowledge the growing pain. It never feels comfortable.
Yeah.
But now that we acknowledge it and accept that it don't feel comfortable, we got to do something about it.
Hmm.
We ain't saying to move forward absent-minded.
Yeah.
We do something about it. We have to, inside that journey, we have to create room for breaks, right? Room to say, no, I can't take another step in this condition.
Mm.
It must change,
No doubt. No doubt.
you know?
No doubt. That's peace. That's
You might
peace.
not can have him on your back no more. Put him on the side of you,
No
you
doubt.
know? Or he might have to be left behind. That too.
Facts. No doubt.
Then they say they was forgotten, but some brothers and sisters are left behind because they refuse to move.
No doubt. Facts.
And the weight is too much of a burden. Not forgotten, but we gotta move forward. They gotta catch up when they're able to.
Or maybe you're moving funny, or whatever type of fill in the blanks could get filled in on.
Mm-hmm.
But
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I think I got to that point where it was like, um, I don't want to be on this roller coaster ride. Like, I'm already afraid of heights as it is.
Mm-hmm. That
This
part.
right here, this right here is gonna make me respond in a way that I don't want to respond, especially towards my brother. And
Mm-hmm.
it's like the brotherhood and the relationship just spiraled downward, and I'm okay with it. And again, I'm just bringing it up, you know, as an example to share with you guys, um, because I don't necessarily want to be up here just using and pointing fingers at other individuals. Like, I
Mm-hmm.
definitely want to utilize a lot of my experiences to show, like, um, I got self work to do as well too, and I'm
Mm-hmm.
definitely not, correct in a lot of the things that I may do or decisions that I made, but I definitely put thought in a lot of the things that I do before I make the decision, and sometimes it works in the favor of that situation. But at this point in life, it's like I'm into protecting my peace first and foremost, and definitely uplifting those that haven't walked through the travels that I walked through, so they won't have to go through those travels that I went through. So that's the purpose of sharing. So I definitely appreciate that. That makes me look at the situation, the relationship, and how I went about doing things, um, just to give things a second look. I may still respond and be the way that I am right now,
Mm-hmm.
but it's the open minded aspect of the build is what we pretty much want the viewers and the peoples to actually um, grasp and keep in mind, while we continue to drip in gems over here, man, on any one of the spills or episodes or segments that we may speak on.
Indeed, because we're not telling people what to think or even how to think, but to think.
No doubt.
You did? Because we don't have the answers, but we can help one another solve the problem. Don't have the answer, but we can help one another solve the problem. It sounds oxymoronic, right? You say you don't got the answers, so how you going to solve the problem? By being aware, by being awoke,
Mm-hmm.
by sharing our truth,
No
and
doubt.
we'll identify common threads. And like any, when you get one piece of thread and you pull it, the situation is going to unravel,
That's true.
and then we'll be able to solve the problem, in my humble opinion.
That is
So
true.
thanks again for tuning in to Battle Boy Media, y'all. You know,
No
we're
doubt.
dipping in gems and our builds about work that matter,
No
and we
doubt.
airing the ills of the block, man.
Airing the ills of the block, man. Appreciate everybody tapping in. Appreciate Crossroads for pulling up and extending his wisdom. To myself and the viewers that's been, pulling up. Shout out to everybody that pulled up thus far. Salute, salute, salutes. Um yeah, can't go, won't go to all the bros out there, man. Y'all know what's up. Peace. Again, we just tapping in tapping in to a greater side of ourself, of self, and just giving out the tools and the jewels to help us navigate through this thing called life, and not get caught up in the pitfalls of what some of us may have been through, you know before. Like that's the whole purpose. And again, um a lot of us are fathers, a lot of us are mothers, and we don't want our kids to go through, the things that we had to endure, things that we put ourselves through absentmindedly. Um, Again, I appreciate y'all for tuning in, Battle Boy Media, man. Where we're dripping in gems, and our bills is about work that matters. Battle Boy Media, man. Airing the ills of the block. Catch y'all on the next one. Appreciate y'all for pulling up. Y'all enjoy y'all weekend. Stay woke or wake up, man. Salutes.